If you're traveling eastbound in Stevens Pass, this is a bit of an odd turn, crossing the median and over the westbound side, and will cost you a bit of extra time if you miss it. The road is pretty good up to the Lake Valhalla Smithbrook trailhead, and today it looked like someone had just run a giant weed whacker along the side of it, so it felt extra wide. If you want to see this section, check out our Smithbrook video. Be warned, the traffic around that trailhead can get pretty crazy in the fall. Near Smithbrook, the road starts to climb up and down, and gets a bit rough, but not horrible. There are just a couple of bad pothole sections, and in many places the road is large enough to bypass them. Otherwise, it was a long washboard road. There are a few turns, so make sure you have directions. It took us about 20 to 30 minutes, and was somewhat scenic. The trailhead is roadside parking only, and there's a lot of roadside, but not much room to turn around. This trail is short, but don't underestimate it. It is steep. The first mile is very similar to the Old Mailbox Trail. However, unlike Mailbox, where you have the option of the new trail going down, you will have to return the way you came here, so I highly recommend pulls. Otherwise, you might find yourself going down a couple of the particularly steep sections on your butt. Eventually, the meadows opened up in an explosion of fall colors, and the trail gives you a break from the relentless climb. I'm sure the flowers in the summer are pretty here too, but the vibrant reds that come with the crisp autumn air makes this my favorite time of year for hiking. All of these plants are busy getting ready for winter, and the ones that turn red have a particularly interesting way of doing so. Imagine those leaves as a million little solar panels. Just like ones on a house, there is no way to turn them off if the sun is shining. So the plants paint over them with red, block out the light, then reabsorb everything they can before casting them off. There's a link to a short video below that describes the process better. Both of these lakes were stunning. I recommend taking a little time to wander along the trails along the ridge between them. Some dead end, but you really can't get lost in this section with the lake on both sides. There are lots of little lookouts, and each one gives you a different perspective. The texture and shape of the rocks surrounding the lakes gives them a mystical quality that I imagine contributed to the unique names. This place has a bit of an enchantment feel to me. We found the trail down to Theseus Lake, right about where it says it should be on the map. It goes nearly straight down 500 feet to the water edge, but the weather is supposed to be turning, so we opted to skip it this time. On the far side of the ridge, the trail starts to climb up Labyrinth Mountain. There are a couple of trails, and some are more loose and scrambly than others, so check your map. With poles, most of it was a walk-up, with just a few places where we need to use our hands. There was one kid up there who was killing it. I'm guessing he was about 5, and he was climbing all over the place with ease and confidence. His parents seemed to have full trust in his abilities, and were letting him find his own path and do his own thing. It was awesome to see. It made me wonder how people looked at my family when I was little. My little brother and I always liked to try to climb any boulders we could find. I don't know how old I was, but I was fairly little when my dad took me to Beehive in Acadia, Maine, a hike with a few ladder and chain sections. I didn't always appreciate hiking, but I loved that one. Thank you for joining us on this adventure. There are hiking resources below and information on free ways to help support this channel. The easiest is liking and subscribing. Thank you. Happy exploring.